go now. Yep, there we go. So now we'll just bring this up to the center and zero it. It's very handy having a strong light behind you. In fact, I've got two. I got one shining in from this side and one shining in from that side. And where the light beams conjoin, I think that's the right word, you can actually bring the tool down, and you know exactly by the shadow, when the shadow meets the tip of the tool is just touching the material, so you can actually zero it there. So I don't think there's any real need for any super duper zeroing device, although I normally use a piece of paper. Okay, so we will do the Y and the X there. And we'll lift the tool up, and it really doesn't matter where this inked print is on the tube, because that will just wipe off with some, if I can remember the chemical name of the stuff, I'll let you know in a minute when I find it. And of course the chemical is called acetone. I use that a lot actually when I'm working with Kevlar, which I do a fair bit of work with now. And I found that it just wipes this inked print straight off plastic, which is very good. So it's a useful tip. Okay, I've altered the A-axis or rotary axis motor parameters. Now in this case it's been altered to 0.009. Now that is millimeters or fractions of millimeters per pulse. Normal setting is 0.00125. 3125. So yes, so 0.009 corresponds with a 90mm diameter round piece of work. But now that is this machine with these motors. Now your machine might be different. It's up to you to sort of have a play around and try and work it out for yourself, but it's not terribly difficult. So we'll start the program up now and sometimes these programs do really peculiar things and you really don't understand why it's doing it or it does it, but invariably it all turns out okay in the end. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I just stopped the program and restarted it because I was not happy at all with the way it was cutting. And what I think has happened is the tube must have go up. I've just done it. So yeah, you can see the result here that I just was not happy with, and as you just saw then, yeah, I've dropped the clanger. It's my fault. The tube is actually loose on here. I hadn't tightened this up enough, So just a matter of tightening the tailstock up, locking that up, and then it becomes firm. So sorry machine, it was my fault. So we'll put a new piece in and give it a try. That just goes to show that we all have our stuff-ups. Hopefully I don't get any more. This so far, however, things don't always go according to plan, because just to bring this to you all, actually teach myself how to use the fourth axis, I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different pieces trying to get this damn thing cut. The problem being is the material is very, very thin, and because you get so far through the program before you discover, oh dear, it's broken through. So you have to, well, what I actually found out was that this round tube isn't round. Now it's a 1.75 millimeter to 1.85 millimeter wall thickness, so it's not true all the way around, and it's oval, it's not round. So when you're cutting out 1.5 mil to leave, you know, roughly sort of half a mil wall thickness behind, it doesn't add up, it doesn't work, as I found it. Certainly using wooden dowling to actually hold it in the A axis or the rotary axis is not the best material when you're trying to get accuracy within sort of 0.25 millimeter. It doesn't work. So what you really need is, well, I've made these out of nylon, which is more accurate. And what I've had to do then is get a DTI on the actual tube and pick the lightest part or deepest cut of the picture and put the lowest part of the tube or the pipe in that area. So when the cut comes round, it actually doesn't puncture through, and you use the ovalness of the tube to assist you to cut it. So it's working at last. So hopefully I'll be able to show you the finished thing. As I have found it, machining this very thin material, it's about the same as trying to carve a design on an emu egg. You tend to end up with, well, a lot of omelette. And finally, 3 hours and 20 minutes later, we have a finished round lithophane. Now all I've got to do is make a base for it and put a light inside it, and I'll put the end result up right after this. Okay, so this is what you can do with a couple of pieces of offcuts of wood, a simple light fitting, and a bit of cable with a plug on, and a bit of old drain pipe. And the magic happens when you put the light on. So there you have a 3D lithophane. Not bad for a bit of old drain pipe.